A no BS plan to improve your chess in 2025. Today you will learn the blueprint to improve your rating like never before. You will learn how to play your best chess and overcome your peak rating, how to optimize your time for training and make it more effective, and how to set realistic goals to make sure you achieve them. We all want to improve, and I think that with all the resources we have at hand, 2025 is a great year to improve. This is for you if you want to improve your chess, but your work and life are demanding, so you're looking to optimize your approach. This is for you if you have spent many hours training but have been stuck for years. Or, well, if you get overwhelmed by all the courses, books, resources, this is for you because I'm going to teach you how to optimize your time and how to make things easier, more simple, right? This training is for you if you're sick of the generic advice, like doing more puzzles, reading more books, playing, just play more, just do more puzzles, just analyze your games. This big generic advice. If you are sick of it, then this is for you. And also, this is for you if you want to improve your rating, you want to have more fun, you want to be more confident in your game, you want to play OTV, but you want to train a little bit more. If you want to achieve all of that, this is a great training. You have probably heard it all, It's like, do more tactics. If you want to improve your chess, do more puzzles. Puzzles, Study openings, right? Buy this chessable course. Buy this tactical course. Read this book, train this book. There are lists of books that many people have used before, and they recommend them as the ultimate, solution. Hey, watch this course, read this book, read my Reassess Your Chess, these Jeremy Stillman books. By the way, these are great books, but people tend to talk about these things like they're the ultimate solution. And actually, like, just play more games, you need more experience, you need to play more. And, and yet, despite all this advice, something isn't clicking. You can play better. You haven't reached your potential. But somehow, the traditional approach, or the traditional solution, aren't getting you anywhere, isn't getting you anywhere. Before we start, if you don't know me, I'm a founder of Premium Chess Coaching. My name is Diego Villanueva, chess coach. I've been working as a chess coach for the last 8 years. And 2 years ago, Chess.com picked me chess coach of the month in August. And here's my nickname, Chess Coach Diego. In case that you like this, don't forget to say hi. Send me a friend request so we can chat over there. And also, my mission in chess is to help you get unstuck. Play the best chess of your life, discover your potential, and discover the true joy of chess. And also, I'm pretty aware of the type of advice you get from other masters. So actually, I'm the type of person, the type of coach that actually translate that knowledge and make it easier for people that sometimes don't understand the stuff that other masters recommend. So I'm going to translate all that knowledge. And that's me. So first, before I show you how to improve in chess, I'm recommending you to stay away from the all weight approach. Here is the all way to improve your chess. All right, this is how most people do stuff because this is the all way. All right, it's like you set an ambitious goal. You can be like, oh, this year, this in 2025, I'm gonna hit finally 1800, and then you start buying more courses, studying more openings, solving more puzzles, reading more books, playing more games. But here's the hard truth. Doing more doesn't equal playing better, all right? I always see profiles of chess players that have a great chess puzzle rating. Like in the puzzle rating is something like over 2,000, but their playing rating, their real rating, it's 1,000. There's a huge gap, right? So doing more stuff is not the same as, it doesn't mean you're playing better. Just you're doing more things, which is good. It's better than not doing anything at all. But is that effective? Not necessarily. And here's why. Because this approach of buying more courses, studying more openings, solving puzzles, studying your games, playing more games, this approach actually ignores your actual thinking process. All right. When you study an opening book or an opening course, it focuses too much on what to do. Right? It's like you're gonna play here, and if your opponent does this, you're gonna try this plan, and that's it. But that course actually doesn't ask you how do you feel with that plan. If you like that plan at all, because sometimes the opening course, the master who's showing you that, he's going to tell you, hey, just leave the king in the center and just attack your opponent. And you can be like, whoa, 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 but I think this is risky, you know? I don't even like this. I don't feel comfortable with this. So these courses, these books, ignores your actual thinking process. I'm just giving you an example in the opening context, but there's more. Also, since this approach actually recommends you to do more, and more, it tends to lead you to burnout and frustration. I know a bunch of players that have spent several months doing chess. They have improved, but at the end they feel like exhausted. And they're like, okay, I have spent multiple hours. I feel tired. I don't want to touch chess for the next year, you know? And there are people who, well, I think that's the best scenario, because the worst scenario, and that's actually the scenario for most people, is like they do more and they don't see results. And then they are frustrated about it. It's like, I am the same place after all this time. I'm still playing the same. I don't like this, you know? And the other problem about the old way is that it doesn't actually hit your blind spots. All of us have blind spots. All of us, there is some stuff that we don't know, okay? And when you start learning new concepts, you are you are adding new concepts in your mind, in your brain, but the foundation is pretty poor. And that poor foundation, well, in that poor foundation, you find your blind spots, things that you don't comprehend yet, or things that, I don't know, misconceptions, misunderstandings about some concepts. So you're just adding more stuff, okay? Because you're doing more. This is the old way. And the old ways always focus on doing more stuff. And that's particularly difficult if you have work, if you have a family, if you have a business, or simply you don't have too much time, right? Because sometimes the solution is just do more. But okay, I don't have a lot of time. You know, I don't have the luxury of spending 3 hours a day. And again, most importantly, this doesn't work because it completely misses what's holding you back. What is the main problem? Like, what is the main thing that, apart from not hitting your weaknesses, what is the main thing? Why this approach doesn't work? Let me introduce you something I call chess trauma. Chess trauma is a barrier where past negative experiences and accumulated misconceptions create a bad response to normal positions. Okay? It makes you reject good moves, or worse, not even see them. Have you ever wondered that in a game you're playing and then you make a mistake, a very stupid mistake, and then you're like, oh my god, what I did? Why did I just did? Yeah, the moment you drop the piece, the moment you drag the piece and it's the turn of your opponent, you realize, what the hell? Why did I do that? You know, and you just blunder a queen in a winning position, right? Something is interfering, something is clouding your judgment when that happens. And it's hard for us to understand what's going on, right? Or maybe you finish a game, you analyze your game with the computer, and the computer shows you obvious stuff that for some reason you missed. It's like, hey, wait a second, I was winning here. Why did I play this way? I was playing a passive chess. I don't know why. Okay? And these things that we don't understand and they're like invisible, this comes from chess trauma. And we're going to talk about it. Here's how it works. This is what I call the chess trauma cycle. All right? So when you're exposed to a position, no position is particularly bad or good. It's just a normal position. But let's say that you're exposed to a position that you don't understand. A very complex position with full of, closed position, full of pawns, no trades, right? Very slow game. You don't understand it. You don't have a plan, for example. You don't understand it. You start making poor decisions. And then you end up losing the game. Well, that experience of losing the game, it's a negative experience, all right? And that negative experience reinforces a wrong belief. So this is how it looks like. Let's say that you have an opening where all of a sudden you're playing against, I don't know, you're learning e4 as white. You want to play e4. Because you watch a video on how to crush the Sicilian, for example. But then your opponent, and you expect a very sharp game. But then your opponent, you play e4 and your opponent responds with c6, the Caro-Kann defense. Okay, If you are with the expectation of playing a very sharp game, most likely you can mess it up because most of the time, if the Caro-Kann player knows what he's doing, he's gonna play a very solid chess. It's gonna be hard for you to find your way if you want to be extra aggressive, depending on what line you're playing with white against the Caro-Kann. And that wrong mindset can lead you to make a poor decision, right? And if you accumulate enough poor decisions, that will create a negative experience, like feeling uncomfortable, getting crushed, right? Losing horribly. And if you repeat those, eventually that will reinforce a wrong belief. You'll be like, after e4, my opponent can play the Caro-Kann, and that's annoying. And not only that, when I play against the French, it's the same. The game is pretty structured. It's pretty solid. I cannot unleash my most aggressive chess. And you can start creating some wrong beliefs. For example, you feel good and confident when your opponent plays e5, c5 as black, and you play e4, but you start feeling uncomfortable when your opponent plays c6 as the Caro-Kann. It's like, oh my god, another Caro-Kann? Oh my gosh, this is bad. Like, I have lost many games this year against the Caro-Kann. I don't get it. And you start feeling uncomfortable. So some external past negative experience is clouding your judgment, so you're not playing at your best. You're thinking about all the times you lost in the past against the Caro-Kann, how uncomfortable you felt, and you end up losing the game. You end up making bad decisions. You end up losing the game, which is a negative experience, and that reaffirms your wrong belief, and that just increases, until at some point you finally decide to learn how to play against the Caro-Kann, or you drop the e4 and you play d4. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. I know it's kind of abstract, but I'm giving you an example in the opening context. But we can explain the same in different areas, not exclusively the opening, also in middle games, also in end games. And I would say that the misconceptions in middle games and end games are actually harder to spot, but they happen all the time. Okay, but this is how the chess trauma cycle works. Now, let me give you a more tangible example. Let me show you one of the most this is what I call the Friar Liber trauma. This is a position from the Italian opening. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. Okay? In this position, hopefully you can see everything, but in this position, the best moves are knight f6 and bishop c5 for black. This is what I mean. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight. Okay, this is the position, right? This is the Italian game. This is how they call this opening. And the best moves here are knight f6, bishop c5. These moves are used by many chess players, many grandmasters. Carson Magnus, Hikaru Nakamura, I mean, you name it. The best of the best. But for example, if you play knight f6, which actually I think is the best against the Italian, you need to be prepared here. You need to study you need to have some sort of knowledge, because your opponent can pull off the move knight g5, which is known as the Friar Liber attack, basically. What is the idea? To take on f7, right? And that's why I'm saying knight f6 is the best response in the opening, all right? But only if you know what you're doing. If not, you might enter into the Friar Liber attack, and many problems can happen, leading to disasters like this. For example, this is a very classical position that happens quite often, especially in that level where people don't know what they're doing. So for example, here, if you play, the best move here is pawn to d5. This is good. But after pawn takes, here you must play knight a5. But it's kind of hard to make this move if you haven't studied these positions before, okay? What is the most common mistake? Knight takes c5, which is very hard to understand sometimes, because knight d5 looks like the most natural move. Your opponent takes on d5, right? So your opponent takes on d5, what is the most natural response? Knight takes. It's pretty natural, but it turns out to be a bad position. In fact, here white has the move knight f7, sacrificing the knight, and according to the Lichess database, almost 4 million games, Just in leeches. I'm not even counting OTB. I'm not even counting chess.com. Just in leeches, there are 4 million of games in this position. And you see the white bar, it says 69%. It means 69% of the time, white wins in this position. So this is a very common trap, and white has a very, very good success rate, compared to the 28% for black. And what's the thing? The problem of this variation is that after king takes, maybe you already know this, but still it's important to review it. Queen f3 check, king e6, and knight c3. And you're in trouble because d5 is under attack. And even if you find the best moves here as black, aesthetically speaking, this is harder, way harder to play as black. And many times people play the move knight e7, but then d4, attacking this pawn, pawn takes, queen e4 check. And you play king d6, knight takes e5, and white finally recovers the piece, but with interest. He have invested a piece, he finally recovers it, but with a great interest. Your king is trash on d6. So, this is what I call a negative experience. This is a chess trauma experience. You are getting crushed horribly in the opening, and if this happens to you over and over and over again when you play with e5 and you see this, eventually you're like, if I play knight f6, this guy's gonna play knight g5, and knight f7 he's gonna attack on f7, and I'm gonna lose. I don't like it. And that's why in these positions I have seen responses like this, f6 for example, which is nuts. It's crazy. But apparently there are people who are playing like this just because they want to avoid knight g5. But this is bad because after something like d4, the problem is that your opponent is going to have control over this diagonal, and you won't be able to castle kingside, right? Or there are people who are playing h6. This is called the anti-Frei-Leber defense, which I feel, personally speaking, I feel this is pretty bad because this goes against the fundamentals of the chess opening, which is the quick, fast development, right? And but people find this solution because they think this way. When they start making poor decisions and they get these horrible bad experiences, they start creating wrong beliefs. And in this case, if you get crushed in this position of this diagram, they can be like, you know what? Screw this. If the Frei-Leber attack is too hard to deal with, let's find a different solution. And that's why people start playing moves like h6. If you notice here, I want to show you again in a screenshot of the stats. I told you, bishop c5, knight f6 in this position, bishop c5 or knight f6 are the most popular, the strongest solutions. And actually, these are the most popular ways of playing against a Frei-Leber attack. But what is the third most popular way to play is apparently the move pawn to h6. Okay? And there are over 30 million of games. Okay? 30 million of games in this variation. So that is a problem. 30 million of games of people playing h6 because they don't know how to handle knight f6. And that is a problem because knight f6 actually turns out to be the best move. And we're going to see how to handle that later. Not because I'm interested that you learn how to play e5, but just so you see the purpose of what I'm saying. So guess what? You're avoiding the Frei-Leber attack when you make a move like h6, or you're making a move like pawn to f6, which is also bad, right? But you are making your position exposed and ready to get exploited. Just so I give you a quick example. When you play h6, your opponent can play d4. And if pawn takes, knight takes, queen takes, here, for example, one popular move is knight f6, which makes a lot of sense if you want to improve your pieces real quick. But e5, and then you're forced to go back. And this position is terrible for black. It's pretty bad. Take a look, all the pieces are on the 8th rank. Meanwhile, you already have developed 2. Your opponent has a nice spot in the center. You can castle in just one move. White is leading in the development. And most of the time, white wins in these positions, right? Here's a trigger warning for you. Many people get a benefit from keeping you unaware of the real weaknesses and your blind spots, right? Because in this example of the opening, I just show you, if you get the wrong belief that the friar libre attack it's too powerful, you might be like, okay, I don't want to play e4 anymore. Well, there are people who are benefiting from this, and this is the case for many content creators. Many content creators will benefit from this wrong association you have, and they'll be like, oh, are you tired of the friar libre attack? You know, do more. I mean, they don't say it in these terms, but they will get your attention with the title of, are you tired of the friar libre attack? Okay, watch my Traxler counter gambit video, which, by the way, this is a Traxler counter gambit. After this, knight f6, knight g5, bishop c5. This is a Traxler, and it's interesting, but it's not a long-term solution if you want to play with black. There are many ways. Like if white doesn't know what he's doing, most likely he can lose. But if white knows what he's doing in the context of the friar libre attack, white is gonna win. Most of the time, white wins. But yes, white needs to study this. So it's a nice trap, and it works, but it's not sustainable. You won't hit your rating goals just by pulling off traps. But some content creator saw this opportunity of, oh, people are losing against this. Let me show that person a new way of playing, but it just covers the symptoms because it's not a serious approach. Actually, this is not a good move, because if white knows what he's doing, he can crush you. And if you're the type of person that is like short-term goal-oriented, you will love this. But if you're a smart person who wants to create sustainable progress in chess, you actually need to understand the root of the problem. You need to understand the nature of your mistakes first, so you can see your blind spots, your misconceptions. I'm trying to convey my message in the context of the opening, but this happens a lot also in the middle game and end games. So, people are benefiting from telling you, hey, watch my Traxler counter gambit video. Or, you know what? Drop e5. Because, every time you play e4 and your opponent plays e5, your opponent has so many gambits he can use. And he can also play, here's the thing. Let me flip this. If white plays e4 and you play e5, he can play f4, he can play d4. There's so many stuff you have to study. You know what? Buy my course of the Caro-Kann defense. I'm going to teach you how to play the Caro-Kann defense and avoid this all nonsense. Yes, they're getting a benefit from, selling you the idea that e4 is just too much, and that's why e5 is no solution. You need to play c6. But the thing that they're not mentioning is that in the Caro-Kann, you will see the same type of positions over and over again, close positions. And I mean, that's okay. But sometimes the Caro-Kann is just not for you. And it's just like you are learning the Caro-Kann just because you don't know how to handle the friar libre attack, which is very easy, but you just need to understand how to do it. Now, hopefully you can see my point. If you're smart, I think you already know this. But yeah, they will tell you stuff that, watch my Traxler counter gambit course, drop e5, or try this trap instead. And they sell you like how to treat the symptom, but not actually understand the real problem. And all of this is basically do more. Watch this new course, do more. So again, what's the example here? What is the normal position? The friar libre attack after knight g5. After knight g5. Here, 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 here. That's a normal position, all right? But maybe you made a poor decision in a normal position. You rushed to capture on d5, and you're like, d5, and knight takes e5. You rush to capture, and that's a poor decision. And what is a negative experience? You're going to get crushed after knight f7. And if you are unlucky that day, maybe you're going to play against a toxic player who's going to crush you with a cheap trick, and he's going to tell you, oh my god, bro, you're bad, go to sleep. Feeling you, and that's going to make you feel even worse, It's like, I thought that chess was a game for gentlemen. Well, apparently there's a lot of toxic players. And there are people who act like that. I don't know why. Anyways, now that you got crushed, now that you start making poor decisions, and if that happens to you over and over again, it feels like the solution is to study something new. That you need to start something from scratch, right? Or play something worse like the anti-fragile library attack. Otherwise, you will keep falling into the traps. And now the wrong beliefs determine your training plan. And that's just the beginning. I'm just showing you a problem in a context of the openings. But this can happen at all levels. For example, in the middle game. We all know the importance of castling the king. But there are some times where you can play with the king in the center, and that'll be fine. But if we have wrong misconceptions, misunderstandings, without understanding what context we should castle in what other context we should keep the king in the center, we can make strategic mistakes that are going to make us lose a lot of games. So here's the problem when we keep accumulating wrong beliefs. If you keep addressing getting more wrong beliefs, eventually you will be the person who feels rating anxiety. Every time you play, I don't know, e4 and your opponent goes d5, and you can be like, oh, again, this defense, oh my god. And also you can be like, oh, I'm gonna lose. I don't want to lose my points. I just won 20 points today, and then I'm gonna lose all my points, right? Eventually you can become the type of person that only play with bots because you don't trust in your skills anymore. This harms your confidence, right? Also, you can become the type of person that need to feel ready. You need to feel ready, or you need to feel that you're improving before you even start playing OTV, because you don't believe in yourself. You can start developing a low confidence in your play, right? Feeling bad about the process. Sorry for the typo. Feeling bad about the process, and not enjoying the game. And that's how most people end up quitting chess, because they start accumulating wrong beliefs that actually build up their chess trauma more and more and more. And from one bad experience, you can start thinking, oh, I suck for chess. I don't need this BS. I'm already good. I'm already successful. I don't need to spend so much time. I already spent 1 year doing this and it's not working. Let's quit it. And they are missing, the beauty of the game. Just because you're starting accumulating all these wrong beliefs. The chess trauma, And I have seen this a lot. I have spent so many hours studying, improving, the effort, and I'm still not good enough. I'm not good at this. And this is serious and kind of sad, because I have seen many talented players quitting chess because they feel like chess is not for them, right? But here's the thing. If you don't understand why your chess progress is stuck at the first place and why your results are inconsistent, then you're doomed to play a game you can't win. And that's my problem with, the old way approach, which is keep doing more stuff. I can't progress. You just need to do more puzzles. Oh, thank you. I'm going to do more puzzles then. And then you start doing more puzzles, and then you start, you don't find, you improve your rating, but you improve your rating puzzle, but you don't improve your real rating. So what's going on? Doing more is not the solution. Okay? Let's see then. Here's a new way of improving your chess in 2025. There is a better way. There is, for sure, a better way. Instead of just doing more, work smarter. Be smart about your approach. Instead of focusing on getting the new book, the newest course, focus first on understanding your chess. Not the chess according to other master, your chess. Which means find where your thinking goes wrong. Okay? Maybe you're losing over and over again because you're miscalculating variations, because no one has taught you how to think when you have a critical moment. Maybe you are good at solving quick tactics when you have a puzzle in front of you. But when the situation happens in front of you in the real game, no one has taught you how to identify, hey, here you have a tactic. Don't rush. Treat this position as a puzzle. Here you have a fork. A fork that you have practiced hours in the past. But no one has taught you how to identify critical moments. No one has taught you better habits, to slow down, to think better, right? That's why you should start focusing on your chess first. That also means fixing one weakness at a time. We all have weaknesses, right? But if you start learning, like doing end games on Monday and middle games on the Tuesday and tactics at Wednesday and start doing a bunch of things because doing more is better, right? Then it can become a mess, right? Just fix one weakness at a time. It's your chess, it's your life, it's your schedule, one thing at a time. And also learn and don't run away from positions you struggle. You will always find positions, difficult positions, but they're difficult because you don't know how to handle them. You struggle them, and it's okay. But learn them, learn from them. You know, positions where you feel uncomfortable teach you a lot about how you are. And I'm gonna show you why later. But yeah, don't focus on just doing more, work smarter. Instead of adding more knowledge, more concepts, reading more books, watching more YouTube videos to learn the newest concept in the middle game, focus on fixing your thinking, on the way how you calculate. Instead of solving random puzzles all the time, work on positions from your games, for example. You know? Instead of following general rules, general principles, understand your specific weaknesses. Understand the context where these general rules work and why they work and why they don't work. Okay? And let's see how you apply them in your games. Instead of memorizing what works for others, discover what works for you. Here's the same example, but from the new way, the Friday Liberty attack. So let's say that you actually you fall into this trap. Knight takes and knight takes f7. You fell for it and you end up losing the game. Okay, with a right approach, you will discover your move knight e5 reveals more of your game than you think. Why? Because if you're the type of player who rushed to take on d5, it's because you valued more the act of recovering the pawn and overlook other possibilities. You were like, oh, he's taking my pawn, let me take back. And you're overlooking other opportunities because you are the type of player who is very concerned about losing material. So that's why you can spend a lot of time without being behind in terms of development. And the reality is that many players, especially in the modern chess, you can see chess players, chess masters sacrificing pawns over activity all the time. Okay? That's why knight e5 is the best move. What else? The fact that you play knight e5, it means that maybe you are not fully aware of sacrifices on f7. It's like you assume that your king is here, so the knight is not going to sacrifice on f7, when in reality your opponent could try something like that. You're not fully aware of sacrifices on f7 and how vulnerable a king can be if he loses the right of castling, which doesn't mean like that sacrifice works all the time, but you need to be aware of it. And the fact that you play knight e5 maybe shows you that there is a gap in your knowledge that you should fix. Once you have this information, you can be like, okay, so if I take on d5 right now, maybe he can take on f7. How can I think? How can I do here? And if that happens to you, you can start studying games where this situation happened and you see how black defended. But I think that's more powerful when you understand this is a gap in your knowledge than just reading a random book. And it's more effective. The fact that you are not familiar with these things and you start studying these things because you don't know, and it's happening in your games, it's more effective than just reading a random book full of theory that you don't need. So, once you start studying, instead of just buying a new course of how to play the Caro-Kann, or instead of watching a YouTube video on how to play the Traxler counter gambit, you can be like, okay, it turns out that the masters plays knight a5, and after bishop e5, c6, pawn takes. And yeah, I have lost a pawn as black, but there is a reason why masters are playing this with black, and they are actually winning these positions. Why? Well, because in this position, you have open files you can use later. In this position, you have a central pawn that is gaining a space advantage. In this position, your game is pretty dynamic, right? And yeah, if this position doesn't look good to you, it also could mean that you don't understand how to play imbalanced positions like this. Imbalanced because white is a pawn up. Or maybe you don't understand the role of dynamic advantage and how to play with that. Or maybe you don't understand the role of the space advantage and how to make the most out of pawns like e5. So it's like, okay, I don't understand this, but there should be a value. What's the value? With that open mind, you can make more improvement, not just like dropping things because you don't like them, right? And look, it's okay. No one has to know this. But if you pay attention to your thoughts, you will start seeing your gaps, your blind spots. The next step is to study how other strong players think and find creative solutions in positions you don't understand so you can grasp the most important concepts. So don't run away from the things you don't understand. Just try to understand why you react so badly. Most likely there's a trauma there, some negative experience that reinforced a wrong belief about your game, about your skill set, and that's why you're trying to avoid, dangerous positions. Here's a better way to improve your chess this year. Let me show you exactly how this looks like in a study plan. So instead of setting a big goal like reaching 1800, which I like, I'm a very competitive person, and when I offer coaching, I like to motivate the student to aim for higher goals, for sure. But sometimes saying, this year I'm going to reach 2000. Well, that's vague. How are you going to do it? It's not realistic. If you're a type of person who have to work and you have a business, for example, which is the case of most of my clients, and you're starting over 1,000 rating and you want to reach 2,000, it's not realistic, and you're going to feel frustrated and most likely burn out. So don't do that. Start setting realistic, controllable goals. Goals are in your control. Don't say, this year I'm going to reach 1,800. Be more like specific. In these next 3 months, I will fix my main weaknesses or develop a new one skill. So instead of saying, let's do more puzzles, let's play more purposeless games until 3 a.m., binge watching YouTube videos from my favorite content creator. I don't want to mention anyone here. Or playing more opening courses, right? Instead of saying that, because that's how most people operate, that's not smart. Say, in these next 3 months, I will fix my main weaknesses. I'm going to develop a new skill. And here are 3 things you can start doing. Fix one main weakness in your game a week. Every week you can be like, okay, I have this weakness. I'm going to study this game. This master handled a very similar position where I felt bad, but it turns out to be great. And you start learning a new concept a week from something that happened in your games. You study how other masters handle complex positions that you don't understand, and you can do it every week. And you can develop one new skill. Actually, it's not like you can develop a skill 1 week, like maybe it's going to take you 3 months to develop one important skill, like the ability of visualizing the board better or calculating 1 or 2 more moves every 3 months. But it's very helpful, right? I think like these goals are smarter and more tangible. And here's how the training plan works, actually, with examples. Let's say that you want to fix one specific weakness in your game a week. Well, imagine you keep losing in sharp middle game positions. Every time the game gets open, the center gets open, you lose track on where's the material, the type of captures, it feels wild, right? So look, let's say this is your weakness. You are losing sharp middle game positions. Instead of doing more puzzles, because I don't know why people is like, I wish I could improve my middle games. And then I ask them, so what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing more puzzles. So instead of doing more puzzles and cross your fingers and hope you find tactical opportunities next time, study exactly why these positions make you feel uncomfortable with no ideas. Break down your thought process if needed and rebuild it. Okay, it's like, I think like I play open center positions badly because I lose track on where the pieces are going, how these pieces are pointing to my castle, what are the threats that I can associate to this way of how my opponent is putting his pieces. I feel uncomfortable because X, Y, Z. So I need to learn, and I will see this week. The next goal would be like study how a master handle a complex position I don't understand every week. So let's say you panic when your opponent castles queenside and your castle kingside. Well, study how masters handle these exact positions, not just random games from a book, because when you open a book, you will see a countless of positions from different openings, right? But instead of doing that, you will focus on situations that happen to you in your specific openings, right? No random games. You're studying positions that are happening to other masters, similar to stuff that is happening to you, and you can see the thought process, Positions that other masters faced with same challenges, the same challenges you're facing now. And also, let's say that you want to work on developing a new skill. You might need to learn how to calculate 1 or 2 moves deeper. Focus just on that. No 10 different skills all at once. I know that I think like we have romanticized the idea of doing a lot, but no, that's not optimal and that's not sustainable, right? That's not sustainable. After all, we are not doing this because we want to become the next Carson Necklace. We just want to enjoy the game better, right? So you need to work smarter. That's the thing. And this is how the new like unstoppable progress cycle looks like. We see that the old one, which is like we start making poor decisions that make us like feel these negative experiences and that create wrong beliefs, and it fits every step fits the other one, right? And it gets bigger, and so at the end we end up quitting or feeling bad. But when you start being more smart about your approach in the new way, it's like first you start by understanding your weaknesses. That's why I'm putting that in the center. You understand the type of player you are. What is your natural style? Okay, what positions you like, what positions you don't like, and you are open to see what are some positions you don't like. What about them? Okay, so when you start understanding your weaknesses, you start getting a better judgment over positions and also over yourself, but over the positions. And that better judgment is going to help you to create better experiences. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, actually. That's why I don't call it you win or you lose. It's more like the learning experience. With a better judgment, you will make better decisions that will give you better learning experience, because even if you lose, you can learn a lot from that experience. But it's different if you lose because you were unfocused, your mind was scattered, you played until 3 a.m. in the morning and you were tired, rather than, you know what, I understand my weaknesses, I now have a better judgment, I lost this game, but I see why I lost this game, what are the technical gaps I have in, and I just need to fix that. It's not like I'm not talented, it's more like, yeah, I just lost because my opponent understood the position better, so my work is understand the position in a better way. And that ultimately helps you to create a better card confidence, which is going to help you to increase your better judgment. And this is a cycle, it's a perfect cycle, This is how like steady progress look like. So here's my prediction for 2025. Here's what will happen in 2025. Most players will follow the usual path. More courses, tactics, more YouTube videos. They will keep accumulating information without understanding their real problems. And here's the thing, when the engine after the game shows them, hey, you were winning here, right? They will be like, really? I thought I was losing. And they will accumulate more misconceptions, misunderstanding, frustration, not knowing what things are happening in their game. Because they never fix their understanding of the game in the first place. They don't understand their weaknesses. They cannot see beyond the surface mistakes they're making. They don't understand that there's a chess trauma they're being dragging when they started playing chess 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Sadly, that's going to happen, But imagine, instead of sitting down for the next game imagine instead sitting down for your next game with real confidence in your chess. No more doubting yourself in critical positions. No more reading anxiety holding you back. No more regret after losing winning positions. Imagine what would be if you can play, playing like the player you can be. Playing the type of chess that make you feel proud. Finally reach those rating goals you've been chasing. Playing with confidence in tournaments and competitions. Make decisions you're proud of, not moves you regret. Imagine, complete control, having a complete control over your improvement. Turn frustrating losses into valuable learning experiences. Know exactly what to study and why it matters. Having a plan. Feel progress in every game you play. This transformation is possible for you, but not if you keep following the same old advice that got you stuck in the first place. And that's why, guys, I like to invite you to a free strategy session with me. I'm a chess coach. So basically, what I like to do with people is to review their plan and tell them, hey, here's how you can improve your plan, right? I think like right now you have these weaknesses, you can do A, B, C instead, and I create a plan for you, right? So in this strategy call that I like to invite you to talk with me, I think we can, first of all, this invitation is only for people who are serious about improving their chess. They are ready to invest time, effort, and resources into their improvement, and also they're tired of the generic advice, and you want the personalized approach. Every process I follow with people is pretty hyper customized. But this is not for you if you're looking for quick fixes or mic shortcuts. You expect improvement without putting in the work. You are not willing to invest in your chess development, and you just want more puzzles, opening tricks, and all that stuff. That nonsense. In this session, we will uncover what's really holding you back. I'm going to see through your games, and we're going to talk about your chess trauma, and I'm going to let you know, right? And also I'm going to create a customized plan for you. And I'm going to show you exactly how to achieve your results you want. I have people that wants to reach 2000, they are already in 1700. So I'm going to let you know, hey, you're 1700, you want to become 2000, here's how you do it. Or maybe you are 1200, you want to become 1600 this year. I can tell you, hey, this is how realistic this can be, and these are the steps, right? So whether you have already a plan or you don't have a plan, I think like you can get a benefit from this call. It's free, and also you can, we can review it, right? And at the end of the call, if we are a good match, I can show you how Premium Chess Coaching looks like and what are the offers you have at hand. So you decide if you decide, work with me or not. Just a quick warning, due to deep personal analysis required, I only open few spots each month. If you're serious about improving your chess in 2025, book your session now. You can go here to this link, calendly.com/coachingchess/call. And yeah, 2025 is around the corner. You can either keep following generic advice and stay stuck, or finally understand and fix what's holding your chess back. So yeah, if you want me to personally take a look at your plan, the things you're doing, I can make it more effective. I know it, and I know I can help you with reaching your goals this year, focusing on your misconceptions, misunderstandings, blind spots you can't see, and I can see everything very detailed for you, focusing on your chess, not throwing random concepts you don't need. Okay? So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. 2025 is a great year to start improving your chess, but please don't do more of the same old stuff. Okay? This is it. Let me know in the comments if you like this. And this is it. I'll see you in the future videos. Have a nice one.